Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, she is now the Olympic champion in the 100 breaststroke from the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Lydia Jacoby.
Hey, everyone. I was just thinking about it before I got on. I think I've talked to you twice before, and the first time was after the Tier Pro series in Mission Viejo, and that was when I first started realizing I had a chance at making the team. Then we talked again after I'd made the team, so I kind of come full circle now.
You just keep rising. you keep surprising me. Like I can't keep up with you at this point. You had a whirlwind of an Olympic Games. So let's talk about it. We talked to you at training camp. It seemed like things were going well there. How are you feeling heading into Tokyo and once you first got there? Especially, moving into the village and just kind of taking in the environment of it all.
Yeah, the village was so cool. Like driving in there the first day and driving past all the big apartment buildings covered in like banners from different countries, and then like going into the dining hall and guessing where people were from, what sports they played. It just felt so unreal. So it was really amazing for sure.
Yeah. Was there something that stood out to you in particular? Or like seeing the Olympic rings for the first time. Was there any aspect that surprised you?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like something Reagan mentioned in an interview a while ago is like how romanticized the Olympics is. Like it's ever since you're little, you talk about like the Olympics and kind of like that. You always have that as kind of like a thing that you think about, and just to be there, it just felt so like surreal and so different, but also like just like you imagine it, if that makes sense. So just like driving into the village with the whole team and just like getting there was a really incredible moment for sure.
Yeah. And then was your first prelim swim, I guess it would have been the night of day 2?
It was the second night, so the third session.
Okay. All right. So the night of day 2, were you able to, do you feel like you were able to transition from camp into the games pretty well, just in terms of before that first race? Were you feeling pretty good in the water?
Yeah, for sure. I'd been feeling really good the whole time. I think the hardest part for me of the double taper was just like turning around from trials and like going right back into like hard training to get ready to taper again, so yeah, by the time we were in Tokyo, I was feeling really good and starting to taper well again. So yeah, it was great, and then all the training facilities were amazing.
Yeah. But had you ever done a double taper before?
No, I hadn't.
Did you have any expectations about it going in, or were you just like, okay, let's try to do this again?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of, like, we had talked about, like, if I make the team, like, kind of planning for that, beforehand. So we had kind of an idea of what I would be doing and everything. And so we were just kind of trying to replicate what I had done before trials as best we could.
Nice. So you felt pretty good heading in. Are you a feel swimmer? I mean, do you, especially with breaststroke, I feel like it can be so finicky. What do you look for in just, you get in, let's say the day before your swim or the morning of that first prelim swim, you get in the water, you start moving, you start warming up. What are you thinking about? Are you trying to count strokes? Or are you thinking about, okay, how do I feel in the water? Thinking about technique? What do you go to?
I guess I actually try not to think about it too much. Like when you're that close to a race, like, the morning before my race, I got in and warmed up, and I think I only did like 100 breaststroke maybe. I do quite a bit of kick just to keep your like knees and hips and everything feeling loose, because that's definitely an easy part to lock up, if you don't do it enough. But for the most part, just trying to stay connected and everything, just stretch out.
Yeah. So then you have your first prelims.
Mhm.
Can you take me through that race and if you were feeling any butterflies?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous for prelims, kind of similar to, I'd say, to trials. You just don't really know exactly what to expect, and you're racing in a bigger field than you ever have before. So I was nervous, but I also knew it was prelims, and I only had to be top 16 to swim again. So I felt pretty good about it, and I was really happy with my race. So.
What particularly do you feel like went well in that race for you?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that. I don't feel like the race itself was actually that good, contrary to what I said. But like, it was one of those ones where you don't feel that good, but then you look at the board and you're like, oh, I actually went fast. That was not how semifinals was though. Semifinals felt really fast, but the time wasn't there. So I just concentrated like after semis on kind of putting both those two swims together and trying to swim it how I'd swim it in semis, but make the time faster like in prelims.
Yeah. How did you handle prelims at night, morning finals in the morning?
I liked it. It didn't really bother me. I was happy I'd gone to the tier pro meet in Mission to practice that, just kind of understanding that I needed to wake up earlier, and so like to make it feel more like an evening or an afternoon. But yeah, I felt like it didn't really affect me too much.
Are you naturally a morning person anyway, or are you someone who has morning practices routinely?
Yeah, I definitely do quite a few morning practices. I don't know, I'm not really an evening or morning person. I just kind of do it whenever I need to.
Yeah. So what time were you getting up for the morning swims, and did you have a routine at all of, okay, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do this to wake my body up, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, the first couple of mornings I went to the dining hall, which was a big mistake. I think it's cool, but like you go in and it's just this massive room. Around the edges there's food from like everything you can imagine. People getting their food and everything, and it's just like really overstimulating to me. So I did that the first couple mornings, and then I kind of changed. I would just go to the team room and get some like oatmeal and a yogurt and some fruit, and just do that instead, and just kind of relax in the morning and do some activation before I went to the bus.
Activation at 17. I feel like activation is usually a buzzword I hear from like top tier college athletes or professionals. Not to that's just, I don't hear high schoolers say that a lot. What does activation look like for you?
I don't know. I usually do just like leg swings, arm swings. I stretch quite a bit. Do some like dynamic stretching just to kind of get my body moving and trying to get like the sleepy feeling out,
Yeah. High school swimmers take note, or really any swimmers. I feel like that's a small thing that a lot of swimmers might not think about always, or might not want to gravitate towards. They're like, yeah.
It's really helpful. It's like I noticed a lot of people do it at the pool, but I don't know. I like doing it before I get to the pool. I feel like it's a good way to kind of wake up and like get in your headspace and get ready to go. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. Were the long bus rides and the walking, did that take a little bit of getting used to for you, or was it kind of like, no, this is fun? This is new.
It was fine. I normally walk a lot, so it didn't really bother me, but yeah, it was funny actually. There was all the buses. So there's buses to all the different facilities, right, for all the different sports. And so they have it lined up in alphabetical order from last to first. So we had to walk all the way down like so far to the aquatics bus, because it was like the first one at the opposite end from where our dorms were. So it was kind of a hike. Actually the morning of my 100 breast final, it started absolutely dumping rain. I think it was the morning that big storm hit. And so I had like my podium bag and I just like ran to the bus because I was trying not to get everything wet.
Nice. Maybe maybe that had to do with your victory. You were a little more in touch with the water that morning because you got an early start. That's total speculation, probably totally false. Just kidding. So let's go through that final. You run to the bus through the rain. You get to the pool. How are you feeling heading into your first Olympic final?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Before going back to trials, I was very nervous, like probably not a healthy amount of nervous, probably a little over the top. And like going into the games, I really wasn't feeling that, which is like a good thing. I had like a little bit of nerves, like excited nerves, but I wasn't feeling the like super high pressure nerves. And so I kind of convinced myself that I needed to feel that. So going into semifinals, I made myself extremely nervous and didn't swim well. So going into finals, I just tried to kind of let go of that and just kind of like enjoy where I was and have fun with it. And that worked out a lot better for me, you know?
Yeah. Well, how do you make yourself nervous?
I don't know. Just like think about the outcome and different like possibilities and what everybody's expecting and everything. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do to make yourself nervous.
Yeah, as I asked that, I was like, wait, I get nervous all the time. I feel like that would probably be pretty easy.
Yeah. I think just overthinking. But yeah, just trying to like stay like think about other things and like have fun. I don't know.
It's a good way to generalize it. Want to get nervous? Overthink.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So you weren't naturally super nervous heading into this final, and you had mentioned you wanted to combine the two swims, kind of prelims and semis. Do you remember anything from the race itself?
Well, I do remember. I don't really remember much other than I know when I turned, I could see I was on the wall and Lily and Tatiana were still on the wall next to me. And just like seeing that kind of gave me a lot of confidence because in prelims, when Tatiana broke the Olympic record, she was pushing off the wall as I was turning and I couldn't catch her. But just knowing that they were right there and they were close enough that they were like touchable on that last 50 definitely was a big confidence booster.
Yeah, I bet it was. So did you have a time goal heading into these games at all?
Not really. I wanted to break into the 104s. I mean, yeah, that was kind of my big goal, but I was just trying to focus more on just like being there and doing the best I could, I guess.
Yeah. And then, obviously you touched first. Can you take me through the emotions of just what initially you felt, what you saw first, if it was the board, was it the time, was it the place, was it, Lily or Tatiana? Can you take me through that initial reaction?
Yeah, it was really crazy. I honestly like don't really know how to describe it, and I kind of like don't even remember it, if that makes sense. But just like touching the wall and seeing the number 1 next to my name was just huge, and like hearing like Team USA up in the stands cheering and having like Tatiana and Lily both swam over right away and both like hugged me and Lily put my arm in the air and everything. So it's just a big moment for sure.
Do you feel like you were able to process that, to relive it, to just get some time to really reflect on it for the rest of that day or for the rest of that week or even now?
Yeah, that day was pretty crazy. I definitely didn't process at all. I just kind of like, I remember I was in the warm-up pool and like a couple of people came over and were like telling me good job, and I was like, thanks. Like I was just kind of out of it. And then we went to the podium, went to doping control, went to a press conference, and then I went and did media until like I think I swam at around 11:30, and I didn't get back to the village until about 9 at night. And then I just passed out.
Oh my gosh. That's something I'm always curious about, because I'm someone who if I don't get 9 hours of sleep in a night, I'm crabby and I'm upset about
Me
it,
too.
and like I can't function correctly. Did you have trouble sleeping before the final, after this final, just during the games generally? Were you able to sleep pretty well, or was it more difficult for you?
Generally, no. The first night we got there, it was pretty rough because I was very caught up on the idea of the cardboard beds, and so I just like was laying in bed like I'm so uncomfortable. So I didn't fall asleep for a really long time, but after that I slept well. And I was just there was just so much going on, and so many like emotions and everything that like when you got in bed, it was just you were out. It's tiring.
I feel like everyone deals with those emotions differently. It seems nice to be able to say, yeah, so much emotion. So then I'm just like, sounds relaxing.
Oh yeah.
So that's, you kind of brought up an interesting point. The first night you were caught up with the idea of the cardboard beds, and which we saw some reports about, but then you said after that it was fine. Is that something, I think I've heard other Olympians talk about? It's like, you're there, you have what you have, and you just kind of have to get used to it and make the best of the situation. Was that one such example for you? It was kind of like this cardboard bed, and then eventually it was like, well, this is where I'm sleeping, so that's that.
Yeah. I think yeah, and like going back to the overthinking thing, I think I was just like laying there and I was just like thinking about how it was like a hard cardboard bed and how like awful it was, but like when you really like if you just like lay in it and try to sleep, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I did it to myself.
Gotcha. So yeah, rule of thumb, don't overthink. You won't be nervous. You'll be able to sleep. Makes sense to me. So you were able to sleep the night after that Olympic gold medal. The next morning, did you wake up feeling like you were on top of the world?
Yeah, I felt good. I'd also kind of talked to some of the coaches about like taking kind of like a day, like being happy, but also kind of like resetting, refocusing for relays and everything too. So next morning when I woke up, I was definitely like happy. I felt good, but also just kind of trying to get back into that like pre-race kind of mood.
Yeah. Were there any specific coaches you had interactions with? I'm sure you had great talks with all of them, but was there any that gave you a piece of advice that stuck with you, or just it's like, I had this meaningful interaction with this coach that will really stick with me?
Yeah, I think Coach Terry was my group coach. So we definitely talked a lot more than I did with some of the other coaches. So she was always super encouraging. She has these little cards that she gives us with like inspirational quotes on them that are all different. So we all get like our own card every day. So yeah, it was great. Just like that group of coaches was amazing for sure.
Inspirational cards. That sounds like a wonderful thing to wake up to.
Yeah, they were fun.
Nice. So after that, obviously from trials, I'm guessing you had an idea you'd be on the medley relay, but you ended up being on the mixed medley as well. Was that something that you had thought about at all heading into the games?
Not really. I mean, we'd talked about like I don't know, like in our dorm room, like with all the people about like how cool it would be to be on the mixed medley. But I didn't really think that I would be put on it for several reasons. I mean, generally it would be a male breaststroker, and then like going into the games, kind of assuming that Lily would be the like finals relay swimmer. So if it wasn't a male breaststroker, it'd probably be Lily. So yeah, that one wasn't really on my radar, but it was yeah.
Yeah. So can you take us through that mixed medley relay? First of all, let's see, the prelims were one night, and then a full like 36 hours later were the finals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
It was like there's like a day in between.
Yeah. So after prelims, when did you find out that you were going to be on the mixed medley relay?
I had about a day, and then the next morning, the next morning I found out. I went and I warmed up and watched the prelim session, or the final session in the morning, and then they told me that I would be on the finals relay for both of the relays. But yeah.
Can you describe your reaction, your internal reaction when you found out you would be on the finals of the mixed medley?
Yeah, I was really excited. I didn't really think about it that much. It was just a huge honor to be put on that relay. I was excited to swim with Caleb and Ryan and Tori and everyone. So I was super excited, and I felt good coming off my swim from earlier that meet. So yeah, I felt ready. I was excited.
And then, so you have about 24 hours to prepare. You're excited. You're feeling good. I mean, can you take me through the race?
Yeah. Well, so it didn't really start getting super scary until I got into the ready room. Like, when you're back in the ready room for relays, you just kind of size up the people that you're going to be racing. Just looking around, realizing that every single breaststroker was a guy except for me, was definitely kind of kind of moment in my mind. And then after the backstrokers left, just looking left and right and seeing all the guys lined up next to me, getting on the blocks. I still felt good. I was ready to race. I was very determined not to let them catch up to me, because I knew that Murph would get me a lead. Mm-hmm. So just I had a good start, and then as soon as I hit the water, I was like, and then I think I didn't know it until a lot later, but my time I was actually really happy with, considering what happened. And I think I was just kind of running on adrenaline. There are definitely a lot of negative thoughts going through my head, but I honestly, I'm happy with the end result. I think it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you don't know exactly what we're talking about, first of all, get out from under your rock, because this is one of the biggest moments of the Olympics, I think. But so yeah, after you win the individual gold medal, you dive in the mixed medley relay. Your goggles fall off, which obviously isn't ideal, but it happens to everyone. I mean, no swimmer has gone through their career without their goggles falling off, and it sucks. And then you go and you split 105.09, which is a pretty remarkable split with goggles in your mouth.
Yeah, that was my second fastest time ever. So I was not sad about it. It was definitely alarming when I got out of the pool, not knowing what I had split, just knowing that had happened, and I possibly could have messed up the whole relay. It was just a big thing to try to kind of grapple with and get my head around before we went into the mix zone. So yeah.
I'm sure it was. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a jarring thing to happen, right? It's you're battle ready, and then you go, and then your armor just falls off. You're like, oh. So I mean, you had mentioned you had some negative thoughts. Do you just say, no, go away? we're doing this anyway? Or like you said, are you just running on adrenaline at that point?
Yeah, I think it was just adrenaline. I was just trying to it was fine. I had until I got to the turn, I couldn't really see the wall, so I didn't really know how many, if I should take another stroke. And then just if my goggles had come all the way off, it would have been fine, but they're in my mouth, so I couldn't really breathe. Yeah, it was not fun, but it was a learning experience, and it'll make me better in the long term, I guess.
I think so. I mean, you had a great split. Everyone had a great split on that relay. And so I have to ask, afterwards, I saw Adam Peaty come up to you and kind of put his arm around you, give you a pat on the shoulder. Did he say anything? Because I thought that was That's really nice of him to be like, obviously he knew what had happened. Did he say anything encouraging to you?
Yeah. Well, when we finished, he was like, "Did you swim that whole thing with your goggles off?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then like afterward, he was like, "You're a badass." And I was like, "It was worth it to have Adam Peaty call me a badass."
That right there, that's I couldn't agree more. I've never
really imagined that my first race racing Adam Peaty, I'd be gagging on my goggles, but what happens, and here we are.
Here we are. You're a badass according to Adam Peaty, and life's complete. that's very cool. So not all bad for the mixed medley relay. Certainly, like you said, a learning experience. And then we get to the women's medley, and you already know you're the final swimmer for that. You double cap.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you probably noticed, like, because I think a lot of people were talking about it and speculating about it, but I've never double capped before. When I was little, I used to wear a dome cap, but it doesn't fit over my hair anymore, so I usually just wear a silicone cap with my goggles over it. It's never been a problem. I think I've had my goggles fall off like twice ever since I was like 6. So it's just never been something that I've even had to think about before. So going into that relay, it definitely added an extra layer of kind of nerves and almost fear, honestly. Like I was definitely like I don't know. I almost went and got a haircut at the the village like salon thing, but I didn't. But yeah, I double capped and I tightened my goggles so tight and like pushed them onto my face really hard. My eyes were like bugging out of my head, but yeah, I don't think anybody's ever been more relieved to not have their goggles fall off. Like to dive in the water and have your goggles on your face.
I mean, let's call it like it is. When it happens to you, you're the next time you get up on the blocks, it's going to be a scary thing. Let's also give some context for if you're listening to the podcast. You have very long hair, right? I mean,
I do, yes.
Yeah, so it goes almost to your waist. So like you're not just saying, "Oh yeah, I almost got a haircut," because like why not? It's like that's a significant thing. When is the last time you got a serious haircut?
I don't know, maybe middle school.
Maybe never.
I get it trimmed like every couple of years, but it's probably been like 4 or 5 years since I've actually gotten it like cut to my shoulders. Okay.
Gotcha. So it's been a while. So I mean, it's a big deal. Hair matters. So that's number one. Number two, this story has been circulated a lot, but again, let's just put a pin in it. These goggles have significance. People were asking, well, are you gonna get new goggles? And you've had these for 4 or 5 years. You got them from Jessica Hardy at a clinic that she did in Alaska. She gave them to you. I think they were the last like kind that she had of that make, and then they stopped making them.
Yeah. So after I've been, like you said, I've been wearing those goggles for like 5 years now, and they've never come off. Like I can literally do dives with the straps like hanging down, not even around my face, and they don't come off. So I really don't know what happened, but yeah, like when I got back to the team area, some of the coaches were like, "Oh, like we want you to change goggles for tomorrow," and like it just made me so stressed out because I was like, is it really worth changing something that's been working for 5 years just because it didn't work like one time? So that definitely added a layer of stress too, but yeah. They've served me well. It's just one very high profile moment that they didn't.
Which again happens to everyone. I mean, maybe not on the Olympic stage, but everyone has those missteps, or wasn't even your fault. Anyway, way to stick to your guns. You had Olympic coaches telling you, "Hey, we want you to switch goggles." I mean, And then you were like, no, I'm wearing these goggles.
Yeah, I just tightened them up a lot.
Was it
a little compromise?
what? I mean, I don't need specifics, but I'm just like, did you feel pressured to change those goggles, or was it like maybe you should and you were like, no, I'm good?
Yeah, no, it was just kind of a discussion, like how are we going to get you ready for like tomorrow, like talking about like dome caps, double capping, do we want to switch goggles, do we want to switch the straps? It was more of a discussion. It wasn't really like a you need to do this. But yeah, in the end, I definitely thought it would be better just to stick with what I was comfortable with.
That's good. That I think that's great. Also, I've only ever worn Swedish goggles. I'm sure there's a lot of swimmers who are in the same boat, a lot of swimmers who are not in that boat. I feel like that can be a polarizing discussion to have with some people. But 4 or 5 years of the same pair of goggles is, I feel like, unheard of in the swim community. How have you taken special care of these goggles? Like, how have they lasted that long? That's what I'm amazed at.
I only wear them for like big meets.
Okay.
They're not like my everyday practice goggles. I do wear that same pair of goggles, when they stopped making them, we bought like all the pairs we could possibly find from like all these different random sites. So I have like a whole drawer full of like black ones. So I only have one pair of the like special pink ones that I wear for races, but yeah, I practiced in them. So
this makes so much more sense. I was truly baffled, but now
they would be so scratched and foggy you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Exactly. It's like, how do they not have mold growing in the corners? Like how are the straps just not completely deteriorated? I understand now. Okay, very cool. So moving on to the medley relay, which is some breaststroking again. Like you said, it's nerve-wracking because you had the goggle mishap in the mixed medley. But can you take me through that race? And again, were you more comfortable in the ready room this time because the mixed medley was your first time in an Olympic relay ready room, right?
Yeah, I liked the ready room a lot better during the mixed medley. Just like having having my team there, and then like, I don't know, everybody was a lot more friendly. Like we were talking with the Australians before, like watching Bobby Fink's race, his 1500 was going on while we were in the ready room, so we were all like cheering in the ready room. It was just a lot like lighter environment, I guess, which I definitely prefer. So yeah, I felt a lot better going to that race for sure.
Yeah. And so you go into that race, one of the most exciting races of the games, I think. I mean, y'all in Australia were just neck and neck the whole time, and it came down to the touch. Can you take me through not only your swim, but just watching that race on the back end and the excitement that it had for you?
Yeah, it was a really fun race. I really enjoy the relays and stuff, just doing it like with the team. I think we all had really good legs. It was really exciting, and then just like getting out of the pool and cheering as hard as you could. And then just like how close it was. In some ways it was like so painfully close, like you obviously wish we got gold, but just like you couldn't be sad about those results. And it's just like both teams were under the Olympic record. So yeah, it was super fun.
And then I have been dying to ask someone about the moment right after the relay, because like you said, you can't be sad with those results. I mean, both teams swam great races, but you could tell Abby was devastated, and understandably so. Not that she didn't have a good swim, but it's like she was the anchor, and she just was out touched or wasn't able to quite hold Kate off. Again, she swam a great swim, as did everyone. But you could tell she was really upset about it. And the three of you, the three young Olympic rookies, just rallied around her and really, circled up and just embraced her. Can you tell me about that moment? Because that that gave me chills. I almost started crying just watching it on TV. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was definitely a really neat moment. I think, yeah, she was super upset about it when she first got out of the pool. Just like I think on those relays, it's really easy to try to blame yourself. Like, but like at the end of the day, like what happened. You know, like obviously, like I said, we would have liked to get first, but it's like we just did something amazing. We had our last Olympic swim for this Olympic Games. I think, and like any of us could be like to blame or whatever. Like we're a team, we win together, we lose together, we swim together. I know, like, yeah. So just I think that was kind of an immediate reaction, like wishing you had reached a little bit more, but really any of us could have reached a little bit more, and what happened. So it was a great race, and that was definitely a special moment for sure.
I'm glad I could talk to you about that, because again, I've just been like dying to ask someone, because really that was one of the most special moments I saw of these games was just the amount, and I think it was a bigger theme, but the amount people were able to celebrate getting a silver or getting a bronze or getting a fifth place finish at these games. I mean, obviously they were delayed. We didn't even know if they would happen. And so just being able to really celebrate every form of achievement. Did you feel that just being on Team USA throughout those 8 days, just really the sense of being able to celebrate all of it?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I think kind of like Lily said towards the beginning of the meet, like it's bullshit that we can't celebrate second and third. I think that's kind of a American thing, just because we're such a big like basketball and football country, and you either like, when it's just two teams, you either win or you lose. And so that like people translate that into other sports when that's not really how it is. So I just think like I'm glad there was a lot of discussion about it this year, and just like realizing like that these are all like huge victories, and just to be here swimming in that meet is like a victory. So yeah, it was great.
That was definitely the best quote I saw come out of the Olympics. Was Lily's commentary on silver and bronze. It was so good to see. And like you said, it was really nice to have a dialogue about it, and to be like, hey, everyone's good here, right? Some days you win, sometimes days you don't, but that doesn't mean you can't celebrate it no matter what.
For sure.
So now here we are. You're an Olympic champion. You're a two-time Olympic medalist. You're at home in Alaska. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, it's been definitely a crazy couple months, and since I've been home, it's been definitely a whirlwind, but we're starting to get back to some normalcy. I'm starting high school next week again. So yeah, getting ready for senior year and getting back into training and everything.
Do you have a different mindset heading into swimming now, or maybe not a different mindset, but different goals? Are you looking forward to different things, or are you still just, hey, I got state soon?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm taking a little break here. I have been in the pool once since that last relay. Just kind of resetting and stuff. But yeah, when I get back in the pool, high school season starting up here, so I'll just swim and have fun with it and work on kind of getting back into a routine, and then start ramping up and thinking about my meet schedule coming up and getting ready, hopefully for some more meets next year. So yeah.
Seems like a good approach. What all have you been doing since you've been home?
The day I got back, I went up a mountain with my friends.
The day you got back?
Yeah. My town had a big parade for me. which was really sweet. And there were a lot of people there. Like, people came from different places to come see it. And then just like reconnecting with friends I haven't seen all summer, and saying goodbye to people who, now that I'm back, they're leaving for college. So yeah, it's been good to be back.
That sounds good. How tall was the mountain?
Not that tall. I think it's a famous, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mount Marathon. It's a famous foot race in my town that's usually on 4th of July. It's 3,022 feet for the race trail. Pretty straight up, but we just went on the Jeep trail and hiked up to the bowl and hung out, so it was fun. That
sounds great. I'm surprised you had the energy, but that sounds like a lot of fun. Well, Lydia, it's always great talking to you. I appreciate you taking the time out of, I'm sure, your busy schedule. But it's good to hear you're back home, taking some time to relax. Any parting thoughts before we sign off today?
I don't think so. I just want to say thank you to everyone watching for supporting me and continuing to support me throughout this. So it's been amazing, and thank you.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.